What is up, my maniacs? I'm the Awesome Maniac, and today I'm covering A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Not Stream Warriors, Dream Warriors. Anyways, it was...
We're the Dream Warriors! Don't wanna dream no more!
It's a very catchy song, I get that. Anyways. It was released on February 27th, 1987, and stars Patricia Arquette as Kristen Parker, Heather Langenkamp back as Nancy Thompson, and of course, Freddy Krueger being played by the man himself, Robert Englund. Given the last movie wasn't as critically well received as the first one, New Line brought back Wes Craven to write the script for this, and it seems to have worked because it is both a critical and commercial success. Let's see why that is by starting with characters. Unlike the last two movies, this one actually has a decently sizable cast, but that doesn't detract from the characters themselves being memorable. Like Kristen, for example. She has the special ability to bring people into her dreams, which gives the titular Dream Warriors a better chance of fighting off Freddy. Heather Langenkamp is great as Nancy, like I knew she'd be. I love her dynamic with Dr. Gordon. They both just have the very strong desire to save the kids, and Gordon is open-minded enough to believe Nancy's frankly unbelievable experiences and actually, help in the movie. And speaking of the kids, let's talk about them, starting with Kincaid. He was my favorite of the bunch, and I know he's got like a chip on his shoulder the size of a freaking mountain, but he's also just really funny sometimes. And then there's Joey, who's just your average horny teenager, nothing new there. I don't know why he's a mute, but it makes for a really cool moment later on when he does finally speak. Taryn's got some snark to her, and that one guard that tries to get her to use again is just an absolute piece of shit. Although one guard that isn't an absolute piece of shit is Max, Lawrence Fishburne's character, who's actually a really likable guy who just wants to help the kids, especially Jennifer. But someone I know doesn't want to help the kids is Dr. Sims, or at least I know that she doesn't have a goddamn clue on how to best help them, and I'm convinced it's because of the generational gap. The same thing with Kristen's mom. I'm the way, Kristen. I'm the way. And lastly, I want to talk about Lieutenant Thompson. Now, bringing Nancy back was really cool, but having her dad come back as well was just a really nice treat because, as I said before, John Saxon performs when called upon. For characters, and for the third time in a row, I'm going to give them a party rating. Starting off, I know it's not part of the actual story itself, but I gotta take a second to talk about the awesome soundtrack and just the great score itself. Into the Fire and Dream Warriors by Dokken are two great songs, and just like all the very best movie series, just about all the music from all the movies are memorable. Now, onto the actual story itself. The story in this one is quite simple. Freddy wants to kill teens, Freddy kills teens. Only difference now is that he's got to deal with the return of Nancy Thompson, the girl who originally defeated him. This one is definitely more fantastical and louder in tone than the previous two. And with the Dokken soundtrack, the audience is officially introduced to the MTV era of the movies, i.e. 3, 4, 5, and 6. I do have to ask though, we later learn where Freddy gets his powers from, but where the hell does Kristen get hers from? And maybe not the most important question, but definitely one that I had throughout the movie. As much as I like them bringing back Lieutenant Thompson, he seemed to be convinced way too easily to help Gordon. It's what Ryan George would call
It's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Lastly, and fittingly, the last thing I want to talk about is Freddy's defeat and the actual ending itself. Way more so than the previous two movies, his defeat in this one actually makes some kind of sense. Yeah, turning your back and taking away his power and love are fine, but holy water and laying a disturbed body to rest are tried and true methods of defeating the boogeyman. For story, I'm going to give this an Avatar rating. When I did my review for Freddy's Revenge, I noted that the Fredster would get more comedic as the series progressed. Well, going back to what I said about the lighter tone in this one, the Freddy definitely proves it even more. He also seems to be more powerful in this one. We don't know how many patients he killed in the year between this and Freddy's Revenge. It's due to that he's able to take more damage than what we've previously seen. It also makes him more cocky and wants to fuck with his victims just a little bit more. And I have to make note of this because it's just so noticeable to me. His voice again changes from normal Robert Englund to monstrous Freddy Krueger, and even sometimes in the same scene. Speaking of Robert, he felt more energized in this one than the last one, so for that he shoots back up to a legendary rating. I'm just gonna get right into the kills, no preface, even though that was technically a preface. But anyways, here we go. Philip's death is really cool and really disgusting, and it's one that's always got me and still does. I hate the tendons. Jennifer's death is iconic mainly just for the one-liner Freddy spits. Taryn's death is really gross because of the marks on her arm and how they long for the needle is just really gross, and it makes my skin crawl. And Will's death is nothing too special, just a stab in the heart. Freddy pulled a really good trick when he disguised himself as Lieutenant Thompson and gutted Nancy. That was a good way to kill her off. And like I said before, I like Freddy's defeat in this one because it makes some kind of sense. For kills, I'm going to give this a head stomp rating. And of course, here are the kills.
Jonathan, your big break in TV. What's the prime time, bitch?
To feel the fire that's coming your way. I'm standing in the night alone forever. Together, we're the Dream Warriors. Don't wanna dream no more. We're the Dream Warriors. Maybe tonight you'll be gone. We're the Dream Warriors.
Over the years, I've seen the general consensus for this is that this one is people's favorite. Oh, this one is the original. But despite all the things this one got right, something doesn't click for me, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to explain it. It's got great characters, kills, and a killer Freddy, but something isn't doing it for me. Despite that, I'm going to give this a rainy day rating because it is a great movie. So, have you guys checked out my merch yet? Link in the description below. Join me next time where new characters attempt to master their dreams. Until then, don't forget to like, share, comment, and if you haven't, subscribe. Bye bye.
The bitter end this time. Break the spell.